Hi everyone, this is Lynn. Today I'm bringing to you an easy beginner crochet video. So if you're just learning how to crochet or if you want to learn, this is going to be a perfect video for you to get started. So first things first, we want to go over your supplies. I like to have a tote bag, a little box, just to keep together. That way I can tote around my craft projects. In the box, you want to have your needles. You can either buy a pack of needles, or they do sell them individually. These are some comfort grips. All of them are great. If you find that your fingers are getting a little tired with these aluminum hook set, you might want to switch to a comfort grip. You want to have some scissors. These are pretty large, so you're welcome to have even the smaller scissors that they sell for crocheting. Those are fine. I like to keep a small travel size lotion with me just to have in case my hands feel a little bit dry while I'm doing some projects. I even keep in here a small headlamp. That way I don't bother anybody if I'm crocheting and maybe the family's watching a movie. That way I have my own personal little light. So good idea, keep a little supply box together. Let's move those to the side and talk about some yarn. So there's of course many colors in the store. Find the color that you would like as well as the brand. So here we have some Lion's Pride, some Red Heart, some loops and threads. You want to find something that's going to be plain to start out with and soft. So this is 100% acrylic. Both of these are 80% acrylic with 20% wool. So think about what you like. If it's going to be for somebody, you may want to go with the wool so it's a little bit softer. And also, some people can be irritated by acrylic. So find out. If not, I would suggest go with something that has some more wool in it. So the easiest thing I find to do is a scarf. It could take you a while depending on how long you want that scarf, but here's one that I did. This is a double crochet stitch. I started doing the gray, and as I went on I thought, well, I want it to be a little more interesting on the sides, so I started pairing it with black, and then I put some color changes in there to give it some stripes, make it more interesting. And you're welcome to do solid colors, stripes. We're going to go over that. So when you find your yarn, the one that you want, go ahead and look at the label. Another thing that's a good idea is to keep this label even after you have started using your yarn. That way it gives you the information and especially the lot number. That's going to be important if you find that, oh, I just need a little bit more yarn to finish my project. This lot number is going to give you the exact color, and that way your work, your scarf, your hat, whatever you're making is going to match exactly. Also on the label, it's going to give you the size of the yarn. This one is a 4 medium. It also has a recommended hook. So this is going to recommend a 5mm hook, and it even gives washing directions, things like that. One thing about your yarn is one end you're going to find in the middle usually, and the other end will be wrapped around your yarn. I like to try to pull from the middle, that way your yarn stays in place as you need more. It's a good idea. When I started, I did pull one from the outside, and my yarn ball was just rolling around, falling off everywhere. So it's a good idea just to pull from the middle. So this one recommends a 5mm hook. We'll go ahead and grab from this variety pack 5mm hook. Okay, to get started, let's start with a slip knot. The easiest way I found is to wrap around 2 fingers, put your needle through the loop, pull the yarn from the back through the loop and pull the tails tight. And that would give your slip knot. If it's not the right placement, that's all right. Go ahead and pull it out and start again. So again, 2 fingers, make a loop, pull the string from the back and pull, and that gives you your slip knot. We're going to go ahead and chain 27. So you're going to yarn over and pull through the loop. Again, yarn over, pull through the loop. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. So go ahead and chain 27, and you want your chain to be pretty uniform. If it doesn't look right, it's no problem. You can always pull it out and start again. Again, no problem. Go ahead and chain 27, and I'll get right back with you. All right, so you should have 27 loops. That's going to be your chain of 27. So as you chain, this is going to determine the length of your project. So for example, if you're making a scarf, this is going to be the bottom of your scarf. So you want to determine if this is a good width for you. As we work, we're going to work from the right to the left, flip it over from the left to the right, and it's going to end up going back and forth around. All the way around is going to determine the length. So right now, this is the width you are determining. If you want something smaller, you could make just a small square for practice, and that would give you like a coaster. You could make something larger on a larger scale, and that could give you a pot holder. So if you want to make something small for now, that is great practice, and that's the whole point of this, is to start you off and let you practice with something very simple with a yarn that's very easy to use. Okay, let's begin on the first row. This you have chained 27. So this first loop where the yarn is running out of, you're going to skip that and go into the second loop. First, we are going to learn the slip stitch. So slip stitch is going into the second loop. You're going to yarn over. And because you're just starting, I like to pull down here just to pull it through those 2 loops. Okay? Again, into the loop, yarn over, pull that down into those loops. So the next loop, put your needle through, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Through the loop, yarn over, back through 2 loops. So as you can see, the project is coming together, that is a slip stitch. Now, a slip stitch is not usually something you're going to build a scarf on, but this is something you want to have and to learn, because at the other end of your scarf, when you finish on the other end, I like to put a slip stitch as a border on the end. Or for example, if you're going to do an infinity scarf and you want to connect the ends, then it's a good idea to put a slip stitch through both of these ends just to connect it and make that infinity scarf. And it is the smallest stitch. The smallest stitch you can make is a slip stitch, and it's just binding it, just binding them together. That's basically what you're going to use a slip stitch for. So let's go ahead and, just for practice sake, I want you to go ahead and do slip stitches all the way down. That's going to be 26 of them, and at the end I'll come back to you on the other side. So at this time you should have your 26 slip stitches across, and your hook will be on the left side. We just worked from the right to the left. Every time your hook gets to the left, it's a good rule of thumb to go and just count your stitches and make sure you have the correct number, unless your pattern is going to be off on the lines and you want something straight. So if it calls for 26 stitches and you're making a scarf and you want it straight along the edges, then you want to count your stitches and make sure that you're doing those 26 or whatever number it is. Along with that, what happens is when we build to the next row, you're going to see the little V shapes on the top, and that's where you're going to put your loops through the next stitches. So if you don't have enough, you're not going to have enough for the next row. Or if you have too many, you might even make the next row with extra. So always count your stitches on the left side. It's just a good habit to get into. So right now on the left side, you can see that last stitch where the yarn is running through. In order to get to the next row, if you do want to make something out of slip stitches, you would simply chain one, and then you're going to turn your work over, and again we're going to work from the right to the left side. Now, anytime you do something in crochet, you just want it to look even. If you want it to look nice, you want to be consistent. So anytime you turn your work around, I would recommend turn it around the same way. If you're working a stitch, these are just basic stitches we're going through. There's going to be lots of different types, and I've seen some where other people have said, I think that's made up. Well, even if it's made up, it doesn't matter. As long as you're consistent, it will look nice. So with the slip stitch, you're going to do the chain one, and then you're going to find the loops on top. Now remember, it has the V pattern across. There is the front loop, and there's the back loop, which is going to be the one close to you. You can sometimes in a pattern go through the front loop. Sometimes in a pattern they want you to go through the back loop, and this would just go through the middle of those two V's. So with the slip stitch, you want to go ahead and pick which side, and then just if you pick the front loop, go ahead and again be consistent. So pick up your yarn and you're going to pull it through both the loops. So through the front loop, yarn over, and pull through two. Through the front loop, yarn over, pull through two. Through the front loop, yarn over, pull through two. And you can see you're doing another slip stitch. So for practice purposes, you can do another row of slip stitches, but right now we're going to go ahead and move on to single crochet. And since I'm not making anything with the slip stitches, what you can do is just simply pull it out. So what we're going to do is practice a single crochet. I'm going to show you from the chain, and you just pull it out. It usually doesn't give too much trouble. Here we have our chain of 27 again. And we'll start on the single crochet. So we just pulled out the slip stitches. You have a chain of 27 here, and we're going to continue with single crochet. So at your 27 chain, you can see the yarn is running through that last loop. So on a single crochet, you want to go into the second loop from the hook. So that's going to be 1, 2, the second loop from the hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through. You're going to pick it up. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a single crochet. So through the loop, pick up your yarn, you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through 2. Through the loop, pick up your yarn, you have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Through the loop, pick up your yarn, pull through 2. And you can see your single crochet, and you can see the V's on the top coming out. That is a single crochet. So go ahead and do single crochet all the way down the line, and I'll meet you at the other side showing you how to get up to the next row. Once you've finished your 26 single crochet, your hook will be on the left side. So good rule of thumb, go back and count your stitches. Kind of look at your stitching and make sure there's no major mistakes and that you're happy with what you've made. This is the best time to go back and rework it just when you're at the end of that line. You don't want to work 10 more rows and then realize that there was a mistake you made, and then you want to pull out all of those rows. It's better to do it now while you're at the end of that row. So right here on the left side, you can see the yarn running through that last one. And to get to the next row on a single crochet, to make another single crochet line or row, you want to go ahead and chain 1 to put yourself up to the next row. And then we're going to turn our work and again work from the right to the left side. So you already chained 1. If you're going to do more single crochet, you can decide at this time, do you want to go through the front loop? Do you want to go through the back loop? Or do you want to keep it straight and go through both of the loops? So we'll go ahead and go through both of the loops. You're going to pull your yarn through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, single crochet. So through both of the loops, pull your yarn through. You have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both loops. So through, I think you can hear my dog eating some food. I don't know, we can hear the crunches. Anyway, so let's pull through the loop, pull your yarn through. You have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is single crochet. If you want to continue with single crochet, you can go all the way down at this time you have a couple of rows, so you could easily make a crocheted bracelet, and we'll go through binding off. But you can easily make a crocheted bracelet. If you make it a little bit taller, you can make something maybe half the size and make a little coaster. Again, you can make a pot holder. You could make a mat, maybe a welcome type mat in front of your door, by your kitchen sink, just something of a rectangle that you can pick any size that you want. But this is a single crochet. And next we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And again, this is just for practice purposes. We're going to pull the work out and move on to half double crochet. Once you've pulled that out and you have your chain of 27, I'll come back with you and we can start on the half double crochet.